Hi, and welcome back. If you're anything like me, you likely have found yourself in a situation where all of a sudden you have a ton of negative talk coming up. Is that fair? So maybe you lost a client, maybe you forgot to send a follow-up email, maybe something you were hoping to do in your personal life for your family or for your friends fell through the cracks because you were prioritizing work or because you're experiencing compassion fatigue. So first things first, you are a human being, you are not a superhero. So any of these mistakes are completely normal and to be expected. So please practice some patience and forgiveness with yourself. But secondly, today we're going to focus on how do we counter some of the narratives that we have going around in our head. So this is an exercise that I did with my executive coach recently that was really helpful, and I'm really excited to share it with you. It's around what is the story that I'm telling myself, and is there truth to that? So for any of you who are practicing cognitive behavioral therapy or are practicing coaching yourself, you may be quite familiar with this technique. However, as a social worker and as clinicians, how often do we share things with our clients that, for better or for worse, the hardest person to practice that with is ourselves? So let's take a minute to practice this together today. Think about a time when, you messed up, you made a mistake, something didn't go the way you wanted it to, something didn't pan out the way you were expecting it to. What is the sentence or word or thought that came up? That's exercise one. And you can pause here, you can do that, you can come back, you can write that down and do it later, because I want to introduce another exercise as well, which is when you think about yourself, what are the things that you think you're good at? What are the things that you think or that you're telling yourself you're not good at, or they're not you, or that's not you? Maybe it's marketing. Maybe it's bookkeeping or finance, which was a big one for me that I now, after years literally of showing my financial projections to advisors and then saying, these are really good, have I finally embodied and started to believe I seem to be telling myself a narrative that I'm not good at those things, when objectively the feedback I'm receiving is that I am, or I can be, or maybe that's not my biggest strength yet. So what are some of those things? Maybe again, marketing, bookkeeping. Could it be putting yourself out there? Could it be communicating your fee, communicating your niche or your focus area? Maybe it's setting boundaries and communicating the things that you actually don't specialize in, or it's the clients you want to refer out, or it's the time of day that you turn off of screens or stop working, or your hours on the weekends. Maybe you want to work on the weekends. These are just some prompts, but I encourage you to do a brain dump and think about what are the stories that you're telling yourself. Keep this in a place that you can actually have relatively accessible throughout your day-to-day so that you can consistently dump into it. And as these things are coming up, add it to the growing list, and whatever cadence works for you, whether it's once a week, once a month, once a quarter, go through that list and say, this is the story I'm telling myself. Is there truth to that? Is that true? Is there evidence that might contradict that? Might I want to introduce a new narrative? Or is there skill building that I can do to supplement the narrative that I'm telling myself and start to turn it in another direction? This is a little bit about how we can unpack some of those less than positive or maybe even harmful narratives that we're telling ourselves in life and in business. And I hope it's really helpful for you today. As always, if you have best practices that work for you, please comment them here. If you know someone that this might be helpful for, tag them or share directly with them. And let us know what questions are top of mind for you. We'd love to have them answered. I look forward to seeing you soon and hope you have a beautiful day.